Arthur Black. Welcome to Weird Homes, a show that looks at the most unusual and bizarre homes in North America. Brazilian rainforest? No, this is someone's yard, and it gets weirder than this. We'll see one yard that includes a cemetery for lost souls, and another that's overrun with giant bugs and birds. They're sculptures, but they're still spooky. And what happens when a Vietnam vet turns his home into a landscape version of Apocalypse Now? Oh yeah, break out the machetes. We're gonna visit some homes that have gone just a wee bit on the wild side. Some folks have backyards as neat as a pin and smooth as a billiard table. And some yards are a cross between a Walt Disney fairy tale and Apocalypse Now. Take Joe Wojtko. Mild-mannered, soft-spoken, but his yard is an absolute jungle. And then there's Jan Johnson's place. When Jan warns you to watch out for the snakes, he's not kidding. And Josh Janssen? Well, he does have a bit of lawn showing in his backyard, but basically, it's a jungle out there. Welcome to Beaver Meadows, Pennsylvania, and the outdoor art gallery of Joe Wojtko. Joe's backyard is a little wilder than most, a little darker than most. It's hard to believe that all this is the handiwork of a retired schoolteacher. Some sculptors work in marble, others choose soapstone or bronze. But when it comes to raw material, Joe's more of a recycler. And there isn't much he drags home that he can't work with.
This is the icon of our new culture, you know. You go out there and you work your ass off, and what do you wind up with? You wind up with a green commode. You know, that's, I guess maybe there's too much wealth in American society, you know? And you don't know what to do with their money. So we have the Technicolor commode culture. I get these commodes in cleanup, you know? People get bored with their lives, so they go out there and they get themselves, you know, a new commode of a different color. There's the blue one down there.
Porcelain from used toilets is just one of the ingredients in Joe's next series of sculptures.
Okay, these are some of the raw materials that I'm planning on using in my next phase. You know, the commode phase, these colored glass that I've been collecting from various sources. And what I do is I break the glass up into pieces until I get a good supply. I'm trying to get as much different colors as I can. And then I start looking for ideas or thinking up ideas. That I can use it for. I have a pile of commodes there, you know? You know, every color of the rainbow. I want to smash them up and see what can I turn these commodes into.
So, what can you do with a crushed commode? Well, you could create Sleeping Beauty. This was Joe's first attempt at recycling one-holers. He even gave her a quiet corner of the property to catch up on her beauty sleep.
I haven't been up in this section. Geez, I bet you haven't done any work here in 10 years. Gotta watch I don't break my neck here.
The theme in this thicket seems distinctly morbid, and that's no accident. We're tiptoeing through a graveyard.
This is my cemetery of lost souls. The idea for this came from, you know, when I was growing up, there was this Catholic tradition that if you died and you were out of favor with the church, there was a plot outside the cemetery grounds where they buried you, but you weren't allowed to be buried in sacred ground. And in 1950, when I was just a little boy, I had an uncle that hung himself from an apple tree in the backyard. And of course, he was buried in that cemetery of lost souls. This idea was inspired by the four horsemen of the apocalypse: war, pestilence, death, famine. Well, this is death with his terrible swift sword, like that song they used to sing, remember? Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He has come to seek the vintage with his terrible swift sword.
It wasn't just sword-wielding horsemen who sparked Joe's artistic imagination. He was also inspired by another guy, a guy in a cape.
When I was a kid, I used to like seeing the Superman comics. I couldn't wait for them. And there was a period of several years there in which Superman would travel all the planets and bring home these souvenirs of his adventures. And there was all kinds of weird stuff that he had in his private museum. And I said, boy, that would be neat to go around the world and collect that stuff. But I couldn't afford to collect that stuff. So I created my own. I created my own world. This is Sleeping Beauty's castle. This I built, I guess, about 5 years ago. Since it's the castle of a woman, I built it with round features to it. And it was built like a gigantic flower pot to plant flowers of different colors, and it would be like a big bouquet.
Some people see a floral bouquet, others see a jungle. For Joe, it's much simpler than that. It's therapy.
It paid off, you know. It was aspirin for my headaches. It was joy, it was adventure. That's it. Now it's just stuff piled on a hill. It served its purpose, you know. And I seek new adventures.
A true adventurer like Joe Wojtko is always grateful for the lessons learned on the road already traveled.
But a lot of it was relieving the frustrations of life, particularly as I got older. You know, I had a heart attack, dealing with the great question, you know, what's on the other side? How do you deal with those things? I think I was dealing with a lot of that kind of stuff too in some of the art.
You ever had a rotten boss? So has Joe. But he got revenge.
If I told some of my bosses what I really thought of them, some of those bosses wound up in sculptures cast in cement for all eternity, you know, and I hope that some of these pieces wind up in a museum so that some of those bosses will be on display forever.
Nothing like having the last laugh, and that's what you get in Joe's jungle. Mind you, you may need a guide to help you find it. Just because there's not an acre of jungle within 2,000 miles of Hamilton, Ontario, doesn't mean you can't create one of your own. You start by making one piece of folk art. And look out! Just ask Josh Janssen. First thing you need in creating jungle habitat, raw material. Josh and Pat will testify that garage sales are great for that.
Looks like I've been drinking all night last night.
Garage sales are wonderful sources of spare body parts, if you have the imagination.
See this one? You could make a big butterfly. You have to make big steel wings and a head and eyes.
Josh, you're wasting your time looking at ashtrays and teapots. You've got the mother load.
I just got it in time. I would have been gone.
Oh.
That's nice, eh?
Yeah, very neat looking.
Josh was a boilermaker for 30 years, which taught him how to weld pretty much anything to anything. Even if you didn't know that, you might guess as much from his front yard. It looks like an exotic bird convention. But the bugs were here first.
I started off with the bugs. I bought a railroad spike at the church, a long one. I have them here somewhere. And my wife, Pat, said, that would look real nice as a bug. And I said, the head, like, yeah, it does. So I started putting legs on it, and eyes, and a wing, and a tail, and it looked just like a grasshopper. And it's been going ever since.
A passerby might think that Josh and Pat run some kind of recycling depot here.
Take it all inside.
We are like a recycling depot for sure, because there are many things that he can use and many things that he can't. Many things we buy, he decides he can't use it, so we can resell it in a garage sale. And then if it doesn't sell in the garage sale, it goes back to a thrift store. We donate it to somebody. Can hardly throw anything away.
People like Josh wind up with homes crammed to the rooftops, literally. And every work of art an original. Josh, do you have a master plan for all this stuff?
Oh, I never work with a blueprint. I never measure anything. I don't have no tape to use my birds. I never repeat twice the same. Everyone will always look different. That's like art. Sometimes things comes out real good, sometimes not so good.
Yeah, that's how it is making art. You never know what you've got till it's finished and you hold it up to the light. But how about Pat? Does she ever get tired of this metallic menagerie?
She supports me 100%. She loves it. I support her with all her hobbies, and we never have any animosity about that.
The ones I like are up on the roof. The one with the etched wings, ones with railroad spikes for bodies. I like the ones with the wrenches. This one would be the weirdest one, I'd say. He says, dragon bird.
Look, the neighbors don't even have a single dragon bird.
I could never have a yard like that.
Why's that, Pat? Because you and Josh are more the jungle type, or what?
Well, that's the difference in people that are on this show and people that aren't.
Josh has crammed more than 100 exotic birds onto his property. What keeps you at it, Josh?
I don't know. It's just like an artist kind of a feeling. You just don't feel 100% functional if you don't make something, you know. This is a nice bird. Instead of the cat eat the birds, the bird will eat the cat. I like this one. It's a real nice pterodactyl. And this is very unusual. It's a golf club. And I had an idea of making a nice coat rack, a tower rack out of it. Put it on a wall and hang a nice tower rack on it.
And if you got a few irons left over, turn them into bug wings.
I just have to make them. It's just like it becomes an obsession, like, you know. Like anybody else start collecting stamps, they want more and more stamps, and I just can't stop making them.
I guess he's obsessed because once he gets going and those creative juices flow, he can't stop.
I don't overdo it. If I work 2 hours in the morning and maybe an hour at night, that's it. But I'm a fast worker. That's why I do everything so fast.
But when it comes to birds in the house, Pat says not so fast.
We'll have to control it a little bit. Otherwise, every inch of the house would be covered floor to ceiling, probably just like the backyard. So.
And the Janssen's back porch, that's the best of both worlds.
Ooh, it's getting breezy. Nice.
It's Josh and Pat's favorite place to sip a sundowner as they keep watch over their flocks. This forest retreat on the south end of Vancouver Island belongs to Jan Janssen, an ex-American who served in Vietnam. Today, Jan's a sculptor with a vengeance, and he says it was the war that turned him into an artist.
I came back from leave and just started doing art. It's something, you know, it was an utterly futile conflict, but I don't know, set loose some switch in my brain. I just started doing art after that. I don't think I had any feeling for it before.
Plenty of feeling in Jan's art now, and much of it comes directly from his war experiences. He couldn't shake them, so he immortalized them. Mind you, it wasn't all bad.
Well, one thing the war did, it gave me a taste of Asia, even going out there as a, naive, simple, 22-year-old lieutenant. I got a taste for what, life was like out there, and really, found these people really, charming and interesting, and a lot to offer. So this is another one of these in the NATO series of the little grunt soldiers pushing large weapons.
Compassion for those foot-slogging frontline soldiers lies at the heart of Jan's work.
No matter how high-tech it is, if victory or domination or conquest still relies on, the common foot soldier on the ground to seize the territory, or go in after the nuclear blast and make sure that it's been secured for freedom, whatever. Our way of life, God, mother, and country.
Here's an ambitious piece that has to be seen in the light of day. Or, more to the point, it has to be seen to be believed. It's not just another military sculpture. It's an entire war story. You've heard of the retreat from Moscow?
It could be either retreat from Moscow. I suppose it could be Napoleon's or various retreats that have happened since.
Jan puts his welding talents to practical uses as well, such as turning an old bedstead into a garden gate for his wife, Mary Alice. Looks great, Jan. It'll look even better when you build the garden fence. But Jan doesn't have all that much spare time. When he's not sculpting, he's on patrol, performing maintenance on the many artful surprises that lie half hidden throughout his forest. A doll's head and a Doc Marten? That's kind of surreal, but Jan's not afraid of that word.
I guess for me, surrealism is sort of taking a sideways look at things, strange juxtaposition of objects or actions and objects. I'm not sure where you draw the line between magical realism and surrealism, but I like this juxtaposition, though, of wild, the blackberry vines taking over, and I don't know, do you ever think about numbers and letters having personalities too? And so I've been taking typewriter keys and manipulating those.
Surrealism throws all the rules out the window, Jan. How do you decide where to begin a new piece?
Oh, hard to say. Sometimes, start out with that part of the art needs something, or maybe a series like I did the Seven Sins.
Jan definitely colors outside the lines, but he's very clear on what he likes.
My favorite kind of art is where it tells a story. That way, you can start with a story first, and then, think of some landscape or a diorama or a little, dramatic setting that would portray that. I think I learned that in Africa. African artists always have a story. Oh, I think that's how I learned, just hanging around with other artists.
You've seen the outside of Jan's place. Are you ready for the inside tour? Stick around. Surreal is fine for the yard, Jan, but inside the house?
I don't think you can really separate your home from your art or your sculpture, especially sculpture. I know somebody said sculptures are frustrated architects, or maybe vice versa.
People, when they visit, they often try dusting and washing windows, they give up. Just enjoy the cobwebs.
This is the eyeball shower. Why did I put an eyeball in the shower? Well, seemed like a natural thing. After I put the ear in the house, or in the kitchen there, I needed another organ, and eyeball just seemed like the right thing.
Visitors, Jan says when they come, they have a ball.
It's a good party house. We always have a Halloween party here, and that seems to have a reputation as a good Halloween house. So, but we don't get any trick-or-treaters, though. The last one came, I think, was in the mid-'80s.
Wouldn't surprise me if the little tyke is still trying to find his way out of Jan's jungle. Joe Wojtko regularly inspects the artwork in his hillside grove once every 10 years, whether he needs to or not. As for Josh Janssen, his urban jungle is home to species that Charles Darwin never dreamed of. And Jan Johnson, his corner of the rainforest is alive with surprises. Thanks for the tour, Jan.
Chain-belt viper.
Giant insects on the shingles? Colossal eyeballs in the shower? Smashed up toilets in the undergrowth? Whatever happened to good old law and order? I'm Arthur Black. Hope you enjoyed Weird Homes. We'll see you next time.